Okay, let's take a look at the base structure of every single web page. So I have VS Code open here, and I'm just going to go to File, New. That's actually outside of my recording area, so it's just Command N or Control N or File, New File. And you're going to see this brand new file here. Let's go ahead and change this from plain text to HTML. And what we can do here is automatically fill. So we have a nice shortcut here, so we don't have to remember this. It's HTML:5, and then if you hit Tab, it should autocomplete for you using the Emmet abbreviation. You can see that on the right side of my screen here. So let's go ahead and hit Tab, and it does all this stuff for me. Now I'm gonna go ahead and delete a few things just because we don't need it right now, and it might be a little bit confusing. And I'm just gonna change this indenting just so we can look at some nesting, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But let's go through this line by line. So line number 1, this is the weirdest kind of element you're going to see. You don't see elements too often starting with an exclamation mark. Doc type is the only one. So we're saying, hey browser, when you read this file, know that it's an HTML5 file. It's an HTML file. It's not a PDF, it's not plain text, it's not JavaScript, it's not CSS, it's not an image, it's not a font, it's not some sort of other document. It is an HTML page, so please render it like an HTML page. Next, on line 2, we have an opening tag called HTML, and this is where all of our HTML actually goes. And then on line 9, we're closing that tag. So we're saying everything in here is going to live inside of this HTML tag. And in VS Code, you can actually click this little arrow and you can collapse it, which is really nice. So if you ever have too much code and you're getting a little overwhelmed, you can always collapse your code. Next, we have 2 main parts to every single page. We have our head. Again, that's an opening head element, or a tag rather, and this is a closing head tag, and this whole thing is the head element. Now you can actually see that just like HTML, we have another element in here called title, but this one is nested inside of head, and head is nested inside of HTML. And then we have a title element here that just changes the title of the page. So when you go to a web page, such as this one when we downloaded VS Code a couple of lessons ago, it changes this title up here for you. That's what the title element does. Now you can have all sorts of things in your head, but you can think of the head element as literally the head on your body. It's your brain. It holds all this extra information. So it's not completely visual, but it does hold extra information. Now your body is just like the body that you live in. It is what people are going to see. So if I flip back to this page, just as an example, everything in here is part of the body. So everything that's visual, the interactive part of your web page, that is the body. And we're going to be putting most of our code in there. So let's go ahead and make an example here. And let's just write hello world. And what I'm going to do is save this. So File, Save As. And where should I throw this? Let's throw this on my desktop. I'm going to call this hello world.html. I already have one, so let's go ahead and replace that. Now what I can do in my browser is again, I can go to File, but this time I'm going to go to Open File. So it's Command O or Control O if you're on Windows, I believe. Let's go to Desktop, and let's open up Hello World. And this is a web page. Now, if you're following this video, definitely feel free to pause at this point and try to write out the code that I have written in this video. It's not very much code, and it's really easy to write with VS Code. Remember HTML:5 and then hit Tab, and that will autocomplete all of that for you. And then just write something inside of your body element. So I just wrote hello world, and that showed up as text on my page. If you do that, save your file and then open it in your browser, and you see hello world, then hey, congratulations, you have literally just made your first web page. So my suggestion is give that a shot, because this is always really, really good practice, and this is really straightforward at this point. So yeah, my suggestion is give this a shot once you're happy with your results, or maybe you don't want to give this a shot and you just want to move on to that next lesson. Either way, let's head on over to that next lesson together, and we'll get started talking about the title element.